Oh. It says live has ended. Okay. Okay. We're back. Guess who's back? Are we back? I feel like we're back. Do you see the back? Is there backing? 4 people. Okay. The first person to tell me what the real temperature is wins. Doesn't everybody drink everything with a straw? You guys drink everything with a straw, right? Because if you don't, it's going to jack up your teeth. So this is my first night on TikTok desktop. And if I don't commit any crimes for 7 days, say it with me, 7 days, they'll extend my journey to 180. So we're very excited. So y'all don't ask any goofy questions like about that lady that accidentally said bleep teachers. I don't feel like that was a good idea. You know, she could have edited that. So anyway, so the TikTok is also making me do it in 2 25-minute segments. So I'm going to hang up on you at 25 minutes, but it's not me, it's them. It's not me, it's them. And then I'll log back on. Hey, y'all. Okay, so definitely not. Definitely, I don't know what that means. Definitely, you should be drinking your coffee. Do you guys drink stuff with anybody? Anybody drink stuff? Oh, in Smithville. Is that Smithville, Texas? I love Smithville, Texas. We used to go there to the diet doctor. I know it's hard to believe. I only drink with a straw. That's not true, Alicia. Yes, the diet doctor. All right, kids, let's hear the questions. Oh, I just need to also announce something. Do you guys know what this is? Do you know what this is? It's a snowball. And they come in several colors, like $49. Don't I sound very clear? Yo, yo, yo. I do. Raise your hand if I sound clear. Yeah, I just thought y'all should know that. First year student in special ed. Welcome. Thank you for being a student teacher or first year teaching the students. My district is 400 assessments behind, turning parents away. What can I do? Ooh, Lord. Well, tell me their district and I'll make you a TikTok. Did I say that? No, I didn't say that. Ooh, I like this whole thing, Alicia. Like the stuff's on the side of the deal of the, I feel like it's like a teleprompter of questions, but I'm not looking. I'm covering my eye socket. Hi, Bonnie.
It really does look like you're looking.
She says, it looks like I'm looking. All right. Bonnie, how are you? How's the Whataburger?
Doing good. No Whataburger tonight.
No Whataburger. Okay. Tell me the questions and I'll pay attention. Oh, I punched some button. All right. I'm listening. I'm ready. Rapid fire.
Okay, perfect. Is it possible for a child to have a 504 plan and receive OT services?
No. OT is a related service, so Child Find says I'm going to evaluate a child to see if they have a suspected Okay, let me start over. She asked if the heater's too loud. Do you guys have the heater on when it's 80 degrees outside, or just me? So the question was, can you have OT services on a 504? No. OT is a related or instructional service depending on where you live in these great United States. So you can have special education and related services under an IEP. Now, there are some districts that blur the line, but it's usually under an IEP.
How long does it take for a school psych to finish a report?
Yes. Until they're done. I mean, that it's a lot of different things. It depends on how far behind they are. Sometimes a school psychologist will get in there and find areas of other concern that they hadn't done initial evaluations and might ask you for an extension. I always provide that. We want to make sure that we have a thorough evaluation so that we can figure out what's going on with that kiddo.
What accommodation should I ask for my daughter who has hypoplasia?
So it depends on how that presents, and it depends on her comorbidities, right? Does she just have that? Does she have other medical diagnoses? Does she have cognitive challenges? Does she have behavioral needs? Does she have other IEP eligibilities?
Do we need school board approval to withdraw from public school and go to a special needs school?
You don't need the school board's approval for nothing, unless you're trying to get the school board to pass something. So you're grown. You live in America. If you want to withdraw your student from the school district, withdraw them and go to another school.
What happens during a conservatorship interview?
It depends on the specificity of the conservatorship and what it covers. That branches over a little bit into the court system. I'm a certified mediator for the family courts for high conflict divorce. If anybody wants to get divorced in Houston, you just call me. So it depends on what the conservatorship's for.
Can a district not pay the full IEE cost if they have a rate cap for our LEA?
So the cap is the cap. And you get what you get, and you can't stop the cap. I don't know, is that a song? No. So most school districts pay a set fee. In Texas, somewhere around $1,500 to $1,700 is going to be pretty standard. Some parents will ask if they have a provider that's above that, can they pay the difference? You're really ooching over into probably not territory, but certainly you can ask. So if my husband is on the other side of this computer, should I wave at him? Or does he not realize that I'm a celebrity? Hi, Muffin. I'm here doing a live TikTok for the people of the world. Sir, I can't be interrupted. Sorry, go ahead. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
You sure you're supposed to be evening?
I am on a live TikTok, sir. It's important.
Is that Alicia?
This is a live TikTok, Goober. What are you doing?
What are you talking about? It's not live.
It's
you
live.
Got a whole little audience over there. They're giggling
Those
and laughing
are
at
my
you.
question askers, sir. This is how you set up a world global impact system.
Hey, Court!
Hey, guys.
This is my husband. Hi, honey.
Hold on. Let me say hi to the people first.
Well, they're right there. They're right there.
No, they're right there.
They're right there. That's the TikTok live, ding dong.
Well, I'm looking over here.
Those are not
You
people.
scoot over. Yeah, you scoot over.
Those are not real people.
Hi.
He's Mensa. He doesn't get out a lot. Love you. Okay. He missed me. He was gone all day. This is not that kind of show, sir. We have to keep it PG-13.
We did.
I hope that's not going to be a clip, Alicia. That's not going to be a clip.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
It's definitely going to be a clip.
Called Pucker Up with the Boss.
And you got a rose. Someone sent you a rose.
Oh, I hope it wasn't a man.
No, it wasn't. It was a lady.
Remember that guy when I first did it live one time? He's like, if you had a song, it'd be hot for teacher. I was like, sir, I'm not a teacher. And I'm seeing someone.
All right. So what are your thoughts on a second grader moving to third grade without being able to read or write?
My thoughts on a student moving from one grade to another grade without making expected progress is greatly concerning. And so you guys got to just get in there and stick the landing. And what do I mean by that? If your position is that they need SDI, specially designed instruction, then you get in there and get it. We were in a meeting today somewhere, and they tried to tell us no. They tried to tell us no. They tried to tell us no. And then they had this and the discrepancy and the variation of the kryptonite of the universe of Neptune. I said, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. He meets eligibility. We've done sped past eligibility over a year ago. So I feel like this is UPL, unauthorized practice of law. So let's just sign a disagreement. Well, hold on. Usually the one that wins is the one that sticks their position. You guys get too emotional and you fold instead of sticking the landing. So if my child is going from one grade to the next and has not made progress, we're going to stop, sit down, and see if the school can educate them. If they can't educate them, then we need to look at out-of-district placement at the expense of the district.
This is a good question. Is there a benefit in choosing a placement that focuses on teaching standards versus one for life skills?
So I want to assume that every placement is based on teaching standards. That's a requirement for educators in the United States. It depends on the needs of your child. And, sometimes you have to sit down and mourn the child that you don't have, and then serve the child that you do have, right? And if that child is going to be most successful in their educational setting for the bulk of the day, part of the day, or all the day in life skills, that's okay. That's the instruction that they need. But you need to know wherever they are, whether it's in life skills or resource or self-contained placement or general ed, are they getting what they need to be gainfully employed supported employment, vocational employment, further education, and independent living. And if we don't have that focus, then we're doing it wrong.
And what do I do if a school says they can't help with school attendance policies with an IEP?
So school attendance policies or school attendance policies. Now, if you have, I have kiddos that have sleep apnea. I have kiddos that have, they're going through cancer treatments. I have kiddos that have profound medical profiles that must have physical therapy by a medical physical therapist, not a school physical therapist. So they're out of school for several hours or days of the week. I have kiddos who have migraines. I have kiddos that have seizures. I have kiddos that have severe Tourette's. So we've set up with their medical professionals reasons that the IP committee has in their paperwork that they're not going to be able to attend the entire day.
If a child has an IEP for a specific learning disability, how can they, quote, test out?
So the same way you test it in is the same way you can test out. So a specific learning disability is you have a cognitive profile where your GIA, your general intelligence, is in the average range, somewhere between 85 and 115 if it's a scaled score. And you have these outliers, these unexpected numbers, that then give you evidence for consideration for a specific learning disability in one of 9 areas. I have seen kids not meet that criteria when they retest, but those are kiddos that usually have like 3, 4, 5 SLDs, and after the new testing, they might just have 2. So it does happen. But again, if you don't agree with the testing, you can always ask for an independent education evaluation at the expense of the district.
If someone had an IEP in place, do they qualify for SSI automatically?
No. And we have an amazing attorney here in Houston, Boyd Hanley, the HanleyLawOffice.com. SSI is a beast, right? But if you have a child that you want consideration for SSI, I make sure that within 12 months of them graduating, whether that's 18 or going to be the 18 to 21 program, that we have a full evaluation redone in all areas so that we can hand that directly to the probate attorney or to the court so that they have evaluations that are new so that the court doesn't then order new evaluations. And when I'm just going to add on to that. And when you're looking at SSI, that's usually a kiddo, almost always, that is going to need guardianship. So they sort of go hand in hand.
Perfect. Does fine motor delays qualify as other health impairment as a disability to justify an IEP?
No, that's not one of the 13 eligibilities. A fine motor delay might qualify a child for occupational therapy services, maybe depending on the acuity of it, even physical therapy, but it just depends how it shows up. But it would qualify if there is an educational need as a related service.
Mindy Mark says that your office is so pretty.
Oh, thank you. And can we just talk about my new cubes? The cubes make me happy.
All right. Let's see. What accommodations do I ask for my son who has problems explaining homework or how to get to it?
Sure. So I would ask for a printed copy of the notes. That way when we get home, he's not trying to tell me what he was supposed to have or not have. I would have him have a full-size planner, and then him and one of the educational professionals help him populate it so we know what the homework is every day so that when he gets home, we'll have a clear explanation.
Okay, one more from me, and I will send it to Shannon. How can I help people with rare and genetic diseases who are looking for IEPs or 504s? So how can they become an advocate?
Yeah, so come on down and join us. So we always have the 2-day training on demand. A lot of our kiddos that we serve and people that we've trained, their own children have rare and unique diseases. And so there's definitely a need for that. I have a kiddo that was just diagnosed with Kleefstra syndrome, and there's only 178 people in the world that have it. The syndrome presents as ID and sometimes AU. And so people in schools don't know about these, nor would I expect them to. But that level of specificity to serve kids with disabilities is greatly needed.
Okay, my son has had a para since kindergarten and it's now hindering his independence. Any advice?
Well, what grade are they in? So let's talk about the para, the one-on-one. I am never, say it with me, I'm never a fan of a one-on-one, because this happens, right? At some point, you're going to have to, deboard the plane, right? So I understand support, even if it's 95% of the day, but we've got to give some kids some latitude so we can let them see if we have that generalization, maintenance, and fluency of the skills that we've worked on. I know that it feels safe for parents and sometimes even for schools to have a one-on-one, a parapro. But at some point, it becomes kind of a harder disconnect.
When do I request an IEP? What evidence is needed?
When there's a suspected disability, we test. So Child Find says that it's our job as the local education agency to identify, locate, and evaluate children with suspected disabilities who may be in need of special education and related services. Notice it doesn't say anything about, you got to prove it. And then when you prove it, we're going to tell you why you're wrong. I'm sorry. Is it the end of the year? Do I have a little chip on my shoulder? I do. I'm fine, though. I wish it was a potato chip, though, instead of the other chip.
If a child has a 504, can that child have an extended school year?
No, extended school year services are to work on IEP goals to maintain the gains for IEP goals. So you would have to have an IEP to be considered for extended school year.
Can the school make my son be in ACC classroom even though I don't agree and want him in a regular classroom?
So I don't know what an ACC classroom is. I'm going to assume it's some sort of self-contained room. Data drives the dialogue, drives the decision. Oh, write that down, Alicia. That was really good. DDD. D3. Data. Bonnie will tell you. Data drives the dialogue, drives the decision. So the setting is because that was the most appropriate place to maximize his IEP, not because it's convenience. So DDD. Thank you, Tara.
I have one that they've been asking, so I want to go ahead and address it. How do they get busing added to their child's IEP?
So you have to have a disability that warrants busing. So if your disability is a specific learning disability in math calculations, then you don't need special education transportation. So not every child that has an IEP gets special education transportation. So we're looking at kiddos with neurological differences, emotional differences, behavioral differences, regulation issues, functional needs, medical needs, those sorts of things. But it does have to be addressed at every annual IEP.
Perfect. And then someone, sorry, Shannon, I just cut you off. Someone asked about if you could talk more about ESY. Do you want to just direct them to the webinar on the website? Yeah,
we have a webinar on the website on the thing of the deal, extended school year services. And so the short version is you have to meet eligibility for extended school year services. Number one, do you have a student who has documented regression on his IEP goals with a profound amount of time to recoup those skills? Number two, is there a concern for loss for critical skills? But it's very important that you are not talked out of this unbelievable service to maintain your child's skills if they need it. And even if you've already had your IEP and they done told you no, go watch the webinar and go in there with the Karen sayings and see if you can't get that changed.
Yes, and there's a link in the bio so you can find the webinar.
There's a link in the bio. I have a bio. Do I have a bio?
You do.
Is it like a sausage link or no?
No.
No.
Okay, anyways, moving on. Bonnie, somebody has a call scheduled for you and they're very excited to hear from you. She's in the comments.
Oh, Bonnie is ridiculously amazing. She seems like really nice and quiet, and then she's like this. Yeah, they never see it coming. She'll just very calmly say, "We're not going to do that." But she says it like it's not a question. Like, are we going to vote? No. Mm-mm.
No. Why won't my son's therapist approve more time for speech and OT?
Oh, that's really that's why. If I knew the answer to why, I could change the outcome. I would love to tell you I know, but ultimately one person doesn't make the decision. Thank goodness. Hallelujah. So I have a very laid back personality, not even when I'm asleep. So often I will say we'll be in a meeting and it's not going well. I can't get through to the related service provider or instructional service provider. I'll just go, Bonnie and Alicia, the coordinator and the principal, can we jump off into a break room? And we'll go into a breakout room and I'll just say, listen, not understanding what all of this is from Buttercup, but the student needs the services. Is this something we can overcome today, or do we need to end in disagreement over that? Because at the end of the day, there's two decision makers, really. That is the parent and the LEA representative. So I want you to save your bandwidth if you're going to have a lively conversation with somebody for the person that makes the decisions. You know, when I do a training, I always say, make sure that you're using your bandwidth on the right person. That's the first thing that I say in an IEP meeting. Who is the LEA representative today? Who? And that's the person that's going to help when decisions get, wonky.
Perfect. And then I have one that says, how hard is it for a new district to overturn a pendant placement?
So I think you mean pendency. Is that what you mean? So a district can't overturn pendency, which is a fancy legal term for stay put, until a decision has been made by the hearing officer, a mediation has come out, or there's a settlement, and there's a decision.
Okay, and then my child has been diagnosed with autism. How do I get the school to recognize it? They say that he doesn't.
So it's not about them recognize. They can recognize it all day long. They can recognize autism, anxiety, ODD, PTSD. Is there an educational need? And there either is, my love, or there's not. So it's not about what the name of it is. How does that show up and impact him across content areas? And literally look at your instructional day from carpet time to lunch to recess to transition between activities, transition between rooms. I've had kiddos that had an IEP because they were kung fu fighting at recess. Whoa! So where is the educational need? And sometimes you can even expand that from bus to bus. That's what we want to know. What is the educational need based on the identified disability?
Okay, and then they want to know, do you have anyone in California that advocates and gives parents information regarding IEPs?
So all of our advocates are personally trained by me, and they have a authorized sticker on them, like a good t-shirt when you buy it at the Walmart. So all of our advocates are able to help you in Alaska, Miami, even New Hampshire. I know. So California is a piece of cake. So just email us at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com and we'll get you connected with one of our advocates.
Aaron, I think Whitney's child goes to the same school as Grayson.
Hi, Whitney.
It says, my son's teacher will not allow him breaks, even though it's an accommodation in his IEP.
Oh my gosh. You know what, Whitney? Have you ever thought about putting a Snickers bar in their gas tank? Me either. I would never think of that. I just saw it on a cable news network. These people at the end of the year need to act right if they want to get their end of the year teacher gift. So let me help you out, tiny dancers. Accommodations are something that the school is required to deliver to the individual with disability. They're called a civil right. So when I'm in a meeting, I would say, I'm greatly concerned that you feel that comfortable denying my child his civil rights. Can somebody tell me who trained you on that? And then after that, just say, muffin. Yeah, they're civil rights. They're not options. It's not like I'm opening my jewelry box to pick out a pair of silver hoops. They're requirements. And accommodations have to be delivered RE, routinely and effectively. So let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Okay, and then I'm going to ask two more and pass it on to Christina.
Okay, Christina. Oh my gosh, little Christina's here.
Should I hear from someone to transition my child with an IEP to middle school?
It would be great. What you have to do is call a transition meeting by the Zoom, so that you can meet your incoming case manager, that sort of person, but you just call that.
Oh, okay. And then why do they push a 504 over an IEP?
Say it with me. Free! It's free! And an IEP is somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000. So you do the math.
Okay, Christine, are you ready or want me to take one?
I'm ready.
All right, you go, girl.
Can an unlicensed long-term sub write and implement an IEP goal?
So anybody could write an IEP goal. I'm an advocate. I could write an IEP goal, and I'm a committee of no one. The implementer is always going to be, at minimum, a special educator and then the additional persons that we wrote down as an implementer. It would be very rare that a long-term sub is a special education teacher. However, if the long-term sub is a general education teacher, they could partner with the special educator to implement those IEP goals.
Okay. My son's teacher will we just read that one. So many good ones about 504s. Can I have an advocate for a 504?
You can have an advocate for, a pep rally. Yeah.
And then, are resource rooms a service, not a placement? ? The district I am in eliminated resource rooms.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in the federal code. I mean, 300.115. This is the federal law. And you know what it is? It's like federal. It goes everywhere. So a school, a county, a state, or a district could never reduce the benefit of IDEA. They could increase it. So when people say stuff goofy, here's how you know if it's goofy. I feel like what you just said is illegal, but could you provide me that in writing? Oh! And then all of a sudden, everybody's pen's out of ink.
How do I decline HB 4545 hours for the summer?
You just say, we would like to accept the House Bill 4545 at an agreement of 0 hours. We take House Bill 4545 and we'll agree to 0 hours. Knowing that said district is RWE or RWA, ready, willing, and able. Are we so sick of hearing that? The school district is ready, willing, and able. I don't know that you are. Because here's the problem with House Bill 4545. We lied to everybody for a year. Lied. Would I lie to you? Yeah. Would I lie to you, honey? Yeah. So House Bill 4545 was a requirement that we offered it to people, but we shoved it down their throats, ruined everybody's summer school last year. Here's the other problem. House Bill 4545 tutoring is on the grade level that you didn't pass. Most kiddos, not all, but most kiddos that don't pass House Bill 4545, their instructional level isn't grade level. So that makes really good sense. We're going to tutor them on a level they're not on. Great job, legislators. Pearson. Did I say that? Make sure that you put that in there, Alicia. Put the whole thing. And make sure that you tag Pearson. I'm sure they're on the TikTok.
Yes, I'm sure they'll respond too.
I'm sure they'll respond. What if they find out that I'm a What if Pearson finds out that I'm a publisher? Yeah.
All right. If a student is ID but does not have an IEP,
what? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sure you misread that. What? The Hello Kitty did you just say?
I just said if a student has an intellectual disability and doesn't have an IEP, do you have a manifestation when they're suspended?
What is that video? Pass, splash. Yeah. So what? So first of all, if you have an intellectual disability, you should have an IEP. Also, children that have an intellectual disability, I would argue, do not understand the student code of conduct. If you don't understand the student code of conduct, you couldn't be held responsible for it. Where are these people? It's time to pull out the pool noodle. It is bonk you in the face with the pool noodle season, Susan.
Hey, Christine, I'm going to jump in just because Alexis has been asking this question since we started. What should I do? What should I look for in a new IEP? My son has his IEP meeting on Tuesday.
You should look for, first, the present levels to be pristine, prescriptive, and puffy. You should look for the present levels to talk about everybody that provides him an educational product, should have information in there. The present level should talk about how his disability impacts him across settings, and it should indicate what his unique circumstances are. And based on those 3 full filled out pages of present levels, then we can determine what sort of goals that he needs for annual goals, and then what sort of accommodations, what would be the least restrictive environment to implement them, and what schedule of special education services does he need to benefit. I love this name, Caught in the Wild. That's just, I feel like that's amazing.
How were they caught?
I don't know.
Are they currently caught?
I know it's a lot of visual going on. Were they caught? Were you just pretending to run in the wild? For me, in the wild is when I have to take my luggage into the hotel. Woo, that's crazy.
All right, could a school deny me raw data? They said they will give me progress notes only.
So I would do a FOIA request, and all of you are welcome to join Special Education Academy for free. Our friend Tiffany, tonight we'll call her Tiffany, aka Alicia, is going to tell you how to do that. But it either exists in open records or it doesn't exist. I find that usually service providers, related to instructional service providers, are pretty good at taking data. I find that general ed and special education teachers have not all been trained on taking data or their requirements to do that. And if you don't have any data, you deny them a free appropriate public education. So, Tabitha, tell them how they would join the Academy tonight for free.
All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to the website, www.specialeducationacademy.com. I just put it in the chat. You're going to go to the training tab at the top. You're going to scroll down until you see the Academy. When you click on that, you're going to fill out all your information. And yes, it will ask you for your credit card information, so don't freak out. But then there's going to be a little spot that says coupon code. And you're going to click on that, and in all caps, everybody's going to type it in the chat right now. All caps, TikTok Live.
And does TikTok have the letter C in it, ma'am?
TikTok does not. It does not. Do you need me to spell it for you?
Yeah, spell TikTok.
All right, T as in Tiffany, I as in Indigo, K as in Karen, T as in Tabitha, O as in Octagon, K as in Karen, L as in Levi, I as in Indigo, V as in Victory, E as in Elephant.
Somebody typed it in. Thank you.
We have lots of helpers. We have lots of moderators tonight.
I know. Look at the moderators. Thank y'all.
Yes. We needed the help. My son is 16, but his last full evaluation was when he was 8.
Problem. That's a problem. So the website, specialeducationacademy.com. Yeah, you need to do evaluations to make sure that we have the right present levels, we have the right disabilities, and to find out if he's in need of special education and related services. So I would certainly ask for new evaluations in all areas.
All right, and then one more, and I'm going to pass it over to, Alicia's ready. She's got hands up. Hands up. Okay, sorry, got distracted. Teacher, is it true that students get more services without an IEP? Our teacher told us that.
Well, there aren't any services without an IEP. Special ed services are only with an IEP. No services in a 504. So it sounds good. It's not true, though.
All right, Tiffany, you're up.
All right, I was just going to raise my hand and let you know that a lot of people are asking for those steps again. On Karen's TikTok, there's a pinned video that literally will walk you through the steps on how to join us tonight in the Academy. So just watch that video, follow the steps, and then you'll get access. But there was someone that asked, how do you become an advocate?
Yeah, so we have a 2-day training. It's on demand anytime. We have the academy, which is tonight. We go live every Tuesday night for a monthly fee of $47. And then we have a mastermind that's 20 hours long for people that finish the 2-day. So we have lots of ways to jump in. And then we have a la carte products.
I'm going to ask one more, and then I'm going to pass it to Shannon. You go with that, Shannon? Okay. My son, school is past the time allowed for testing. What do I do?
So I would email them and say, you've passed the due date for testing. Do you know when they'll be finished? And then based on their response, I would ask, do you need an extension for time? What is the reason that you are out of timeline?
Okay. What do you mean when you said there is no services in a 504?
There's no services in a 504. You can add a behavior plan, but there's no special ed services in a 504. So you can have a medical plan. Those aren't services. We can have a behavior intervention plan, but we're not tracking behavior intervention goals like we would do in an IEP. So, and also if you have a 504, they can call down your 8-year-old tomorrow and say, hey, wanted to have a meeting with you, Billy. Do you really think that you need all this? No, we'll just cancel it. So there are no services in a 504. There's no requirement to track data. There's no deficits being worked on. There's no skill being taught. A 504 is simply a civil rights that you have with an identified disability that you can't be denied your accommodations.
I have not been given a copy of my son's IEP. I've asked multiple times, what do I do?
So I would email the director of special education and say, I need a copy of my child's IEP by close of business today.
If my child has Down syndrome, should she be categorized with an intellectual disability or developmental disability?
It depends on what state that you are in. Some states will use DD between the ages of 3 and 9. I'm not a fan of DD because it's hard to identify what the need is. So if they test and have an intellectual disability, then I would go with that category.
Do you recommend high school students are in the IEP meetings?
I don't recommend a student is ever in a meeting with a bunch of adults who don't always act nice. So this is what I say, an IEP meeting sometimes isn't a setting for adults. I don't have any reason to need a child who has a disability in a meeting. All of that information can be gathered in a safe way from the student ahead of time. But this ridiculousness that they need to advocate for themselves, we don't call general ed students into meetings with adults and make them advocate for themselves. So I vehemently am disagreeing with that. I have lots of little amazing kiddos are like, Miss Karen, I'm coming in there. I'm like, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Our job as adults is to follow the requirements of federal law. I don't know why we need to have a child with a disability in there.
Okay, this person's asking a question from Idaho. Child has Down syndrome with an IEP. Is there any legal reason we cannot repeat kindergarten?
So kindergarten is usually a non-argument, right? Kindergarten is not usually a requirement in most states. And, at the end of kindergarten, whether you have a disability or not, have you met all the state standards? And if they haven't, I would simply go to the principal and go, just want to let you know that we'll be repeating kindergarten next year. It's not an IEP decision. It's not a 504 decision. It's an administrative decision.
Can ESY be over Zoom? SPED teacher is not doing ESY, so classes are online.
Can ESY be over Zoom? If you want it over Zoom and it's effective for your kiddo.